Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Today, guys, I'm coming to you with a spoilerific review on Tubi's Cinnamon. Okay, first of all, let me just put this out there. I'm not a Tubi girl. And no disrespect to Tubi, but I found a lot of the movies to be very cheesy. But guys, I'm going to tell you off the rip that Cinnamon was all that and some. I'm talking from the beginning to the end. It was giving entertainment and twists and turns. And like, man, it was on point. Okay. I'm going to give it an 8. Normally, when I rave like that, the movie is either going to be a 10 or a 9.5. But there were a few things that, kind of left me, maybe one or two things left me wondering, well, what happened with this and what happened with that? So I just kind of feel like there were some things that needed to be explained a little more. And then I probably would have bumped it up to a 9.5. All right. So first, let me just tell you that this cast has Haley Kilgore, who plays Jody, aka Cinnamon, which is her stage name. Then we have David Iacono as Eddie, and I hope I said his last name correctly. And then the wonderful, beautiful, timeless Pam Grier as Mama, okay, who don't play. All right. And then Damon Wayans, oh my gosh, as Wally. And then Jeremy Harris as James Walker. And child, when I tell you that I was like, who is that? I'm talking eye candy for the masses. Like, I don't know if you think he was gorgeous or handsome, but I did. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he had the cowboy hat on too. So I was thinking to myself, does he look good without the hat too? And then he took the hat off because every time he had to talk to his mom, he would take the hat off in respect and he showed the bald head. And I was like, perfect bald head too. Like, I'm not really into bald heads, but perfect bald head. Anyway, the man is gorgeous and his acting was pretty awesome in the movie as well. Okay, now I just want to talk about Wally real quick because, first of all, this movie is categorized as a thriller and a comedy as well. I think there was another categorization in the Tubi app, and I was just like, comedy. That was the one that stood out to me the most. I was like, comedy? This ain't no daggone comedy because I had watched it already. So I thought it was so good that I decided to put my mom on and my niece on. And when I looked at what category it was in under, what genre it was falling under, it said thriller and it said comedy, and I think it said something else. It had 3 things. And the comedy was the one that stood out to me. And I was like, this is not a comedy. Okay. But listen, it does have some comedy elements. Okay. It's very funny with certain scenes, and Damon Wayans as Wally, he definitely delivers on the comedic side. Okay. But please do not mistake, this movie is nothing to play with. Stuff gets real quick. And I'm talking about from the very beginning when we see Jody, who works in the gas station, and you see her getting ready to close, and she's out there sweeping up outside by the gas pumps, and she's, doing what she has to do in the aisles, and she's getting ready to close. But she keeps looking at the time. And I'm just like, is she looking at the time because she just can't wait to leave or what? And then a man comes through the door who we find out his name is Barney. Okay, let's just say that for now. We find out that his name is Barney and he has a cowboy hat on and everything. And he's like, hey, can I use your bathroom? Whatever. First of all, when he came, she looked like she wanted to hurry up and lock the door before he got in there. And I'm like, why is she bugging? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was closing time, why didn't you just lock the door? Because she had turned out the lights and everything. And it was like, why didn't you just lock the door? So she sees his car pull up. She tries to run to the door. It was too late. He opens it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? Right? Nail biting. Right? And so he's like, just need to use the bathroom, whatever. And I think he wanted to order something. I think he wanted to like get something real quick, purchase something. And so he asked to use the bathroom. But first, before he actually used the bathroom, she was like, sir, we're closed. Right. And I'm just like, what is wrong with her? Why is she bugging out? Like, all right. And so long story short, guys, another dude comes in with a motorcycle helmet on, and he's like, he wants like a quick pick or something with the lottery. And so she, does what she has to do at the register. She tells him that they're closed as well, but he's the one that pulls out the gun and say, hand over all the money in the register. And that she's doing that, he says, the safe Tubi. And he goes around the counter and he goes into the safe, which was left unlocked. He's starting putting the money into the plastic bag. So of course we have Barney, who had just finished using the bathroom, but he had already come out of the bathroom. So he was over there doing something with these pie boxes. Okay, we will find out later what that was all about. And he's just like creeping up and he tells her, because of course he's a cowboy, right? And he has a gun and he's creeping up and he's like, shh, telling her to be quiet. But unfortunately, the dude with the helmet that was robbing the store, he looks up and he sees in the mirror that Barney is creeping. So he raises up from the counter and shoots Barney smack in the cabeza. Okay. And man, oh man, I felt like, oh no, like what's going to happen now, But the guy with the helmet, he didn't do anything to the girl. He pushed her and he jumped over the counter. The money fell. So he starts picking it up and everything. And then also there was this black bag that Barney had. So he stuffs the money into that black bag and grabs it and goes. Okay. So of course she presses the button now. She didn't press the button before. She pressed the button now. And that's when the cops come. She also has to let Wally know. This is when we find out that Wally is the owner of this establishment. So then, the cops come, like I said, she gets home. And why? Of course, listen, it didn't go over my head at all. As soon as she gets home, on her floor is the money bag. And I'm like, ain't that the money bag? So she unzips it. She sees all the money in it. Of course, some of the money has blood on it. And then we hear somebody say, don't move. And we look up and it's a young man pointing a gun at her and he's in the tub and he's laughing and she's laughing maniacally. And it's just like, what in the world am I watching here? So from this point of view, it's looking like they planned this whole thing. Of course they did plan it, but the way they had them laughing, like, like they were Bonnie and Clyde and very evil, guys. But that is not the case at all. When we get deeper into the story, we see that these kids were really just two lovebirds who wanted to be together. We find out that Eddie is a crook. First of all, they went to school together. They ran into each other on the bus. And he was like, yeah, I'm Eddie. I used to sit behind you in Miss such and such class or whatever. And that's how they started talking and dating. He found out that she works in a gas station, but she's an actress and a singer and stuff like that. And so when she asked him, what do? He said, I'm a crook. He kept it real. And, he kind of took her around and let her see how he gets his money. Okay. Which is robbing people. He at one point robbed a guy's watch. All he has to do is bump into you and your wallet is his. Like he's that kind of kid. He's like pickpocket, if you will. So here we go, guys. Now that she sees what he does, he says, why don't you let me hear you sing? So she finally starts to sing for him and he is blown away. Guys, the romance element is so beautiful that you start to fall in love with these characters, okay? And I'm talking about Jody and Eddie, or Cinnamon and Eddie. And Eddie falls so in love with her that he just wants the best and he wants to make sure that she gets her studio time and all of this. So he starts to get all his money together so he can do that for her. But one day, the guy that he ran into on the subway and robbed his watch, he caught up with him. Thank God he didn't kill him, because I could have sworn he was going to kill him. I thought that's how Eddie was going to go out, because the dude that Eddie keeps bringing all the stolen items to, he pays Eddie, right? But he also warned Eddie. He said, you better be careful, kid, because if you would have stole this watch from me, I would have deleted you, okay? So Eddie is like, all right, whatever. So I just knew it right there. I said, oh no, that's foreshadowing. I smell tragedy all over this movie. Like it was just too cute with the lovebirds and everything. Okay, guys, but was I in for a ride? Yes, I was, because the predictions were totally off. All right. But anyway, so Eddie gets beat up and kind of sliced over his eye from the guy. And he's just like, I can't really do this anymore. And I don't really know how I'm going to be able to help you, because he was saying that he was going to raise up some money and then they could leave town and go to LA and really, really focus on her singing and acting career. That was the plan. So she was like, you know what? No one's ever made me believe that I can do this and everything. And I just feel like it's so close. I've been wanting this all of my life. So she decides that there's no turning back. Okay. I have a way that we could get the money. So she was the one that put the whole robbery together. Okay. I forgot to mention that after the robbery in the gas station, they brought us to 3 months earlier. And so they started to show us the story of Eddie and Jody. And that's what happened. Okay. Then we get to another chapter where it's all about Wally. Okay. And we see that Wally also has a car dealership. And so James comes in, James Walker. All right. And we find out that he is partnered with Wally at the gas station. Not just him, but his mother too. And he just wants to know, where the heck is James getting all this money? Particularly, he asks about an expensive shirt that Wally had on. Long story short, guys, he wants to know if Wally is skimming off the top. And he gives Wally a chance to just forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry. You don't even have to answer that question for me. Instead, why don't you just let us buy out the rest of your ownership for the gas station? And we'll just let bygones be bygones. But Wally decides that that's not good enough for him. He doesn't want to give away any more of his ownership. So, guys, this is when we see the scene of Wally going to the gas station and going inside and seeing Barney's body on the floor. He then calls James and he says, "You need to get here as soon as possible." And this is when we find out that Barney is James's brother. Okay? So now Eddie and Cinnamon not only have gotten themselves into a robbery slash deletion, but they also deleted somebody that's a part of a family that don't play. Okay. So we also find out that what Barney was doing over there in that aisle with them pies and stuff, them pie boxes, he was coming to pick up a drop. Okay. So this was cocaine involved in all of that kind of stuff, guys. I really didn't want to be here too long, so I'm about to speed it up and stop. Now, if you have seen this movie, you know exactly everything that I'm talking about. If you stuck around knowing that there are spoilers in this movie, then hey, I still suggest you go on ahead and watch it anyway, all right? Hey guys, I forgot to mention during my first recording that once it was revealed that Jody and Eddie were working together for the gas station robbery, I also realized why she kept looking at the time and why she was so frantic about Barney coming in, because no one was supposed to be there, because clearly they had staged a robbery, okay? Now, what I was talking about before, about how Cinnamon and Eddie had that evil laugh going on, like they're just this Bonnie and Clyde and they don't care about life, this and that. That's not the case at all. When we replay the scene again, when Cinnamon gets home, she opens the bag of money and she sees Eddie in the tub, and Eddie feels bad about having to shoot Barney. Okay. He's never done this before. He steals, he doesn't kill. You know what I'm saying? So, he tells her he doesn't want to talk about it anymore, even after she tries to just comfort him and let him know that it would have been either you or him. You had to do what had to do. So, anyway, guys, she has to go back into work. And when she gets back into work, now James and his mom, they want answers because her son is dead, his brother is dead. And plus, the coke is missing. Okay. So when they get back to the store, first of all, they're looking at Wally like, you must have something to do with this. Poor Wally ain't have a daggone thing to do with it, guys. But when James said he wanted to see surveillance tapes, I was like, oh, shoot. They are going to see when Haley took her foot and she tapped it against Eddie's foot. See, what we didn't see in the first scene was why Eddie had turned his head to look up at the mirror and saw Barney in the store, right? In the first scene. It was because Cinnamon had tapped his foot to let him know there's danger. And so when they saw this, it was trouble for her. So they grab her up and they grab up Wally. And I'm not going to get into all the details, guys, but it just turns into a whole big thing. Okay, now this girl has to fight for her life because she's been kidnapped and all of that. And also, they want to know where this Puerto Rican kid is, which is Eddie. Okay, so long story short, guys, the movie was just twisty and turny all the way freaking through. And unfortunately, Eddie winds up getting shot by James and he falls out of the window into a garbage can. And meanwhile, Cinnamon is captured by the Walker family. I want to say the Walker family, right? And Mama is deaf, so they do a lot of sign language and stuff like that. And she also has this little trick. She wears these glasses and the lenses come up, right? And so if she wants to delete someone, she'll lift up the one I think it's like a lens cap, and she'll show this eye, which looks like an eye that she probably can't see out of because it's like all blue, right? And then if she wants them to live, she'll lift up this eye, which is a regular eye. So it was pretty interesting. You really had to pay attention to all the dialogue and things of that nature, guys. But like I said, I did not want to be on here that long. But another twist was that when we thought that Eddie was dead, he was not. He wind up surviving, and it looked like he was shot in his chest, but he wasn't. So I guess it was more so like a shoulder. But he found out where they had Haley because he ran into this pizza delivery lady, and she described, who she was delivering the pizza to because they. So the problem is, well, the problem for them, it's not really a problem, but it became a problem for them, was that they kept ordering pizza, right? So they either ordered pizza at the gas station, they ordered pizza at the morgue where they had Barney's body, and then they lastly ordered a pizza at their house. So when the lady was talking about it with her boss, he was like, can you imagine somebody's ordering pizza at the morgue and all this stuff like that? And so when she mentions the gas station, the delivery chick, that's when Eddie was like, oh, wait, you mean the gas station over on such and such? And she was like, yeah. So he asked her to describe the people, and she described the sexy James Walker, honey. Okay. And she even let it be known that he was sexy. But anyway, guys, so that's how Eddie was able to go see about his girl Cinnamon. But the thing is, he had a gun on him, right? And he told the girl, the delivery chick, he said, "Listen, I'm gonna need your car, okay?" And of course, he pointed his gun at her. I'm gonna need your car. So he went to go save his girl. But also, if the twists were not done, guys, we have Mama's husband, who I think his name was Eddie. Listen, he was trying to get away with Wally's snow bunny. Okay, so he was the one that actually took the money, because the crazy thing is when James went to go get the money from Eddie, right? He found out where Eddie lived because Eddie bought a car earlier that day, and these people obviously are big where they're from, and people know them, right? So I said, "Oh my gosh, guys, I just realized that I called Mama's husband Eddie. That's not his name. I think his name was Freddie. Okay, but whatever." So anyway, a man who sold Eddie a car calls James and says, "Yeah, somebody over here, he just bought a car and the money had blood on it and all that." So he described the dude and everything, and he was like, did he leave an address on the bill of sale? And that's how James was able to find where Eddie was. And when he found Eddie, he did find the money, but he didn't find the drugs. So James was like, "I don't understand this. The money was there. I don't understand why the coke is gone. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. So, long story short, guys, we find out that Mama's husband was messing around with Wally's snow bunny, okay? And they had planned to go away on a trip to the freaking Bahamas. First of all, Mama had lifted up her little, her lens over her bad eye to have his snow bunny deleted, okay? And so Freddie goes to the back and we hear him bust off like 2 shots. And so we think Snow Bunny is gone. James decides after, because I forgot to mention that Wally wound up getting deleted because Mama done lifted up the eye for Wally, and she lifted up the bad eye for Wally, the good eye for Haley. I'm sorry, Jody, right? And so Wally was deleted. So James goes to dump his body and decides, you know what, let me double back and go to Wally's house and bury Snow Bunny as well. So when he gets there, the crazy thing is he smells cooked food and all of this, and he's like, yo, something is going on. He finds Snow Bunny alive, so he has to make sure he deletes her. Then he finds 2 tickets to the Bahamas, one with her name and one with Freddie's name. And I hope I'm saying his name right, guys, because I really don't remember the guy's name, but it's Mama's husband, okay? And so James is telling his mom and Freddie this at the same time, like, Mama, your husband is a cheating, whatever. So he had to sign that because she could read lips, and she was seeing that there was something going on. Like, she can read that there was an issue going on, but it was mentioned that once you sign it, it's sealed, right? It's set in stone. So that's what was going on. By this time, while they're going through this, and Eddie is ready to, James is ready to delete Freddie. Eddie is at the door because he had just finished delivering pizza there, and he's at the door and he makes his way in, and the shootout happens. Okay, Jody is saved by Eddie because he winds up deleting everybody, right? And yeah, he saves his girl and they drive off into the sunset, and her song is playing on the radio because the guy that they were working with, I forgot his name, but he played on BMF, and that's the dude that whatchamacallit, spilled his bag all on. What is his name? Oh my gosh, I can't even remember his name right now. But he spilled his bag. Oh, Lamar. He spills his bag. Ugh, his colostomy bag all over his face. That's who it was. But anyway, guys, he was so cool in this movie also. And he helped them out. And he was like, listen, turn the radio on at 5 o'clock or whatever. And so, Eddie was able to surprise her, turn on the radio. But he looked like he was dying back there, guys. So it kind of left us with a little bit of an open ending. It seemed like it would have been a good ending, but we weren't sure if Eddie survived or not, okay? He looked like he was struggling in the back, guys. But they did get away with the money also, and hopefully their lives. For sure, we know that Cinnamon lived, but we don't know about Eddie. And also, Mama was saying that Cinnamon was pregnant. So if Eddie doesn't live, his baby can live on for him, right? But anyway, guys, I hope that I did a good job at this review because I know that there were some things that I was just kind of like rambling on about a little bit without being specific. But that's because it's for the people that have seen the movie, right? So I'm trying to lack all the details, okay? But it was a very good movie and I enjoyed it so very much, okay? Now, the thing that I feel like they kind of left unanswered a little bit was how Mama's husband went back to get the coke, right? They didn't really explain that. We just know that he wind up having the coke. Okay, the infamous coke that was missing, that Barney was supposed to drop off or pick up, whatever it was, man, Freddie had it. Okay, and that was that. But whatever, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the movie if you haven't, and please have yourself a wonderful day. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Take care and be blessed. Bye bye.